What's up, guys? We have a special breaking news live stream here that we wanted to do. Well, it's not our normal scheduled time. And the reason is because Etsy just announced this. This is their new AI, as they're calling it. And it's for something that is going to help shoppers, but there's also some cool things that we can use it for. And I say we, us Etsy sellers. So I want to know in the comments right now, do you know what we're about to talk about? Let us know in the comments if you've already heard what this new AI feature is. So if you guys could do that, drop it in the comments and we can have a little fun here while we're getting ready to, actually watch the video. There's a little short video that CNBC had the CEO of Etsy on to explain what this is, the big Super Bowl commercial, and why they think it's a great thing for the Etsy platform that will help us Etsy sellers, because it's going to help us sell more products. At least that's what they're thinking they're going to have more sales from. So Chris, what do you think, man? Are you ready to watch this video? Do we want to go ahead and see what the comments are saying? Where do you want to go?
Yeah, but before we even get into it, I need to get this off my chest. Just because you say something is artificially intelligent doesn't make it artificially intelligent, right? So when Etsy's talking about like this super duper AI feature, it's not really AI the way that most people think about AI, but that's kind of the buzzword, especially in this video that we're going to watch, Scott. He's using it to get the stock market all excited, right? But this is something they could have done a while ago. Like, this is not something that is revolutionary in terms of technology, but it is a huge deal in terms of the Etsy ecosystem. And I think it's important to understand that whether this is like generative AI on the order of something like a Midjourney, a ChatGPT, right? AI is just the buzzword, but it is a new feature that is going to be a huge deal as we move forward, especially as we move into Q4 of 2024 and beyond. And Scott, you said they're going to kind of really kick this off with a Super Bowl commercial. I believe it's the first Super Bowl commercial they've ever run, if I'm not mistaken on that. Somebody correct me in the comments.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I believe you're right.
It's kind of an interesting way to go about it, but I think it's probably the only way that they could run a Super Bowl ad and have people be like, oh yeah, I'll try that out if they've never been an Etsy customer before. And so I think that's it from my side. I want to jump in and discuss the video with you. You know, you and I went back and forth about, haha, when is AI not really AI, right? That was the buzzword at the Consumer Electronics Show this year. Everything was, you had an AI lawnmower. How is it AI? Yeah. Well, they're just using AI now in place of algorithm, right? So Etsy's looking at the buyer data and using that to do this. It's not like being created dynamically by a robot, right? They just using the data that they have access to. And the new buzzword for that is AI versus algorithm. Right?
But what I like about it is, and again, we're gonna get into it right here in a second. But what I do like about it is going to allow us as sellers. It's going to allow us to see more of the data on the surface, very similar to your search data. Because now you could always use the auto populate, but now they're kind of giving us the most popular things, and they can also give us some more ideas of categories and things like that. So with that being said, Chris, let's just go ahead. Let's start. We're going to react to the video. The video is about 4 minutes long, maybe 4.5 minutes long. So we're going to actually listen in on this, and then this way here we can we can kind of see exactly what it all means, and we can kind of break it down. So let me go ahead and add it. We're going to stop talking so we can go ahead and listen in.
Etsy is trying to change the way you buy gifts, announcing a new AI-powered gift mode tool on the platform to help users find items based on occasions and their interests. They plan to market the new feature during this year's Super Bowl, their first ad during the big game. The stock has struggled. It's down about 50% over the past 12 months and more than 10% since the start of the year. Joining us now here at Post 9 and first on CNBC interview is Etsy CEO Josh Silverman. Great to see you, Josh. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, before we get into that, how many of you would like to talk to this guy and say, hey, buddy, what's going on here with all of these suspensions and with all of these other things? Like, dude, can't you come up with AI that's going to help that? That's not going to. All right, let's not get into that. But guys, if you guys would want to actually talk to this guy, drop it in the comments. And I just want to see if I'm not alone, and maybe we can just get enough get enough comments here that maybe we can get his attention. I don't know.
That's kind of the irony of them using the phrase AI here. Like whether, what the involvement of actual artificial intelligence or computer learning is in this feature, we can have a discussion about. But the fact that they just had some AI go a little crazy on the other side for sellers means that they should probably be a little bit more careful with their languaging, at least with the seller community. I'd love to have Josh on. I think he should come on anytime he wants, right? I'll do a podcast at 3:00 in the morning if it means we get to sit down and ask him some legitimate questions about what's going on. And I think the big purpose of this push, and the reason they're on CNBC, somebody let us know, Scott, in the comments, that Etsy is also sponsoring one of your new favorite podcasts, New Heights with the Kelsey brothers. Jason and Travis. They're a big sponsor there, which again, a little bit of irony given a lot of the Taylor Swift drama that was going on with some unregistered Taylor Swift merchandise being sold on Etsy, and now they're advertising on her boyfriend's podcast, which is a little hilarious to me. But I'd love to have him on just to get the perspective of the sellers in front of them, and I think they understand that the sellers are important to the platform, but the biggest struggle that they've had recently is standing out in the marketplace as we start to get Amazon stepping on everything, right? We have more people building their own e-commerce website. Etsy is looking for a way to stand out from the crowd. And I really think that's really what this announcement is about. It's a way to say, this is our thing. You come to Etsy for this. It used to be you come to Etsy for handmade goods. What they found by looking at that was people didn't really understand what that mean. And they actually ran a survey and they found out that the vast majority, and we kind of know this anecdotally, a huge portion of the people that buy things on Etsy are buying them as gifts. So they're really starting to embrace that as their thing, right? Etsy.com is the place to go for gifts.
All right, let's roll it. Here we go.
So this is a big deal, and I know that because I was reading some of the analyst reports, and they said we're anticipating this very big announcement from Etsy. Here it is. Explain what it is.
Well, first of all, gifting is a really important high-stakes moment in people's lives, and it actually happens a lot. Birthdays, anniversaries. It's not just the holiday season. In fact, we estimate that the average American spends $1,600 per year on gifts. And what we hear over and over again is it's actually really high stress. In fact, 2/3 of men say they're good at gifting, but actually only 1/3 of women trust their male partner to buy them a good gift. So while men are nervous about gifting, they should be, right? Finding the perfect gift that shows you know someone is really stressful. And also, what if it arrives late? Everything about buying for someone else, we think is actually really different than buying for yourself. And there's no one brand out there that stands for gifting that can be your go-to over and over again. We think Etsy is incredibly well positioned to be that place you go to over and over again for all your gifting needs throughout the year.
So how does this work? How does it do the job for, those men that say they're great but are actually not?
So Gift Mode leverages the power of AI and generative AI to help you find the absolutely perfect gift, but do it in a way that feels really easy for consumers. There's over 115 million things for sale on Etsy, so for sure we've got that perfect thing. But getting to the perfect thing from 115 million items can feel stressful. So at Etsy, we ask you a couple of questions about the person you're gifting for, and then we have a couple of hundred persona. And we get you very quickly to 2 or 3 persona. For example, Sarah, I hear you're a foodie. So there's a foodie persona.
Like food. Yeah.
And if you go into the
persona is a niche. Just saying. Let's keep rolling.
Foodie persona, we've got some great gift ideas, like a ceramic olive oil dispenser that's gorgeous. It's made in Turkey, but actually really affordable. Or some homemade pesto and tomato sauce gift sets that can arrive just in time, made just for you. So lots of different persona, and then within each of those personas, something that feels really personal and feels really special. And then the gift giver can send a gift page to the recipient that announces a gift is coming, gives them a tracking status, and even can do a reveal on what the gift is if you want. So it builds excitement about the gift coming before the gift arrives.
How is this going to manifest itself in your marketing?
So
Ooh, this ought to be good, huh? Let's hear it, Josh. How are you going to market this thing? Let's hear. Maybe Super Bowl ad?
We're going to talk about it all year long and then some, because we really want people to understand that Etsy can make gifting easy and make you the gifting hero. So we will be launching at the Super Bowl some great ads that really lean into that, a great ad that really leans into actually the stress of finding the perfect gift and how Etsy can be the solution. But you're going to hear surround sound. We're going to be in social, we're going to be on TV, we're going to be in performance channels talking about this, because again, this is a great reason to be coming to Etsy again and again all year long.
But how is it different than some of what competitors are going?
Yeah, it's hysterical. Look at the Etsy stock as he's talking.
So that's
and
that's the last
Jay's
30
Ways
days,
in the house
right?
with us. What's up, man? Yeah, he said, "Come on, Etsy stock." Yeah, I know. I mean, that's Chris. Do you feel like this is a big push for it? Is because of the Etsy stock? Like, what's the reasoning behind this? Other than they want to help. They want to help not the sellers, the buyers.
So he threw out a couple things in the last 2 minutes of that video that I wanted to cover. First, obviously, this is about Etsy stock, right? The only reason the company exists is to make money, and stock is a reflection of how well the company makes money. And I said a couple minutes ago, one of the things that Etsy has struggled with is really standing out, right? They were the handmade people, and then they were a great place to go for unique products. But Amazon, by launching Amazon Merch and really doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on that over the last few years, has changed the game for Etsy and has taken that away as being the only place where you could go to get unique, print on demand type of stuff. And so they're struggling to stand out. And what they're looking for is a way that they can put their foot in the sand and say, this is us. And the way that they're doing that is they're saying now, Etsy is the gifting platform. And Scott, he threw out a number that I thought was really interesting. He said the average consumer, based on their survey, spends $1,600 per year on gifts. Etsy, as of the last time that I looked, has about 95 million what they consider to be active customers. What that metric is, right? Is it one purchase a year? Is it they've bought something ever, right? But if we think about just half of that, if they could get just half of that $1,600, that'd be $800 times 95 million people. That 50x is the size of Etsy right now, right? If they're doing that on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
And so this is a huge opportunity for Etsy, which means it's a big opportunity for sellers. They really want to be the go-to place for gifts. And that's why he said my new least favorite marketing phrase, which is, you're going to hear us in surround sound. I think he meant on blast, right? You're going to hear us everywhere. You're going to see us everywhere. But hearing us in surround sound means you're only going to hear them in one place. It's just coming from all around you, right? But that's neither here nor there.
Chris,
and I know
one thing I want to say that I heard that I wanted to highlight, and that he said we specialize in that unique, personalized gift, right? So what he is saying is what Etsy started with. And to me, that's also for us as sellers to realize there's more opportunity there if you cater your products to being more unique and more personalized. And if you're not offering personalization, you probably should, because that is what most people are going there for, is a personalized gift. If you're not able to create a one-off product, and let me actually pull myself up here real quick. I'll show you guys. Let's see. Can I get see this? See that thing right there? That was created on Etsy. My son-in-law actually got that for me one Christmas for the podcast. We're right there, right? That's a piece of wood. And I have a guitar right there. That's from my guitar player. That's someone I've followed for years. His name is George Lynch. And so that's a guitar that was hand carved and all that stuff, right? So he knows I'm a big George Lynch fan. This is the gift that someone made for me. Now, this is a one-off. You're not going to reproduce this and just sell a whole bunch of rock your brands. But what I'm saying is he went there to find something unique and to personalize it. And he's really super personalized it because he named it as the podcast, and he put the guitar there of one of my guitar heroes, right? And it's a piece of wood. It's like a piece of cut lumber. And that's the type of, I don't think you have to go that extreme, but what I'm saying is just to add personalization is definitely something that Etsy is catering to. So that's why I think just what he said there, that's what they want people to go there for, is personalized or custom type items. If you're just selling one-off, types of shirts or funny shirts, yeah, can you sell them? But is it going to be as successful as if you were more unique in that sense? Probably not. All right. So
Somebody,
just wanted to throw that out there.
somebody in the chat just said, I don't buy that number for gift spending, right? So the first thing we have to remember is that's going to be an average. I just did a little bit of quick Googling, and it looks like the average American spends $920 a year just on Christmas. So remember, they're not focused on Christmas here. And the very last thing I think that he said was all year round. Etsy knows right now that their business is very Q4 dependent, right? Where Q4 is will shift a little bit based on your niche, but the vast majority of Etsy's revenue comes during the fourth quarter. Why? Well, even if we take that $1,600 number at face value, which doesn't seem to be all that far off to me if we use that $950 number for just Christmas. But if we take that number at face value and we say, okay, $950 at Christmas, that means there's $800 left, right? Throughout the rest of the year, that doesn't seem unrealistic to me. But what it does mean is if they're able to get a good chunk of that, it means that they're going to have gifts all year round. You have birthdays every day of the year, right? So they're going to be able to sell those gifts at that point. They're still going to be very heavy in Q4, but it doesn't mean that they're dependent on that anymore. And that's one of the other reasons, Scott, I think they're really pushing this being the gift giving place angle. They know that's how a lot of customers already view them. They go to Etsy when they want to buy a gift. The only time they're really thinking about that actively is at Christmas. If Etsy can shift that, then they're able to increase their revenue throughout the year and they can be less Q4 dependent.
Yeah. And guys, I want you to hang tight because once we're done watching this, I'm going to actually open up my browser and we'll go ahead and we'll dig through a little bit. And I'll show you what I'm thinking right off the top of my head since this has been rolled out on how we will be using it, but also how other people, even brand new sellers that don't even have a niche or whatever, they can utilize this. So that's what I'm going to do here shortly as well. All right, so let's go ahead and finish this up.
To be offering because, you know, Walmart announced at CES, for instance, all sorts of new generative AI fueled searches to get you exactly what you need.
Yeah, and so there's lots of Gen AI out there. What we're finding is when we've launched some of our own Gen AI chatbots, and a lot of customers aren't yet comfortable interacting with a chatbot. They say, just get me back to the old chat. So it's not about tech for tech's sake. Where do you want to go to buy gifts that you think represent you? And this is an area where we think you want to buy something that feels really special, that feels really personal and expresses your understanding of that person. We think Etsy is a brand people really feel comfortable and can get behind. And also not just having a page of like top gifts for the year, but really recognizing that buying for someone else is really different than buying for yourself. You don't have as much knowledge of what that person might want. There's stress about will it arrive on time. You might need it wrapped. You don't want your searches for someone else to mess up your own recommendations for yourself. Like Etsy needs to know that I'm buying for someone else, not for me. So my recommendations stay good just for me. And this is a platform we'll continue to invest in and build in. So it just keeps getting better and better.
All right, there you go. So yeah, so guys, let me ask you in the comments, are you excited about this new feature that is rolling out? And let me ask this too, like, what do you think the benefits are for you as a seller, not just a customer? Like list like one or two things that you think that this will help you with now that this is a feature that is rolled out to customers, you know, buyers. I'm curious. Let me know in the comments and we'll give you some of our thoughts. But Chris, and I don't want to go too deep on this, but it's like every time they throw out the AI thing, like you said, it's basically an algorithm. I mean, algorithms have been around forever, right? And it's like, you just basically created an algorithm with some pretty images that will allow us to see what your categories are more at a surface level now, right? Like, where's the AI come in?
The generative portion of this is the fact that it's like organizing things and creating the pages dynamically, which this is not new technology at the enterprise level, right? This is something that e-commerce sellers can't really do effectively, but Adobe's e-commerce platform has allowed you to dynamically create pages for a while, right? Like this is not brand new technology. And I like the way that he dodged the question from the reporter there about what makes this different? How are you going to stop somebody else from copying this? And he's like, well, people don't like chatbots, was his answer to that. Because the answer is like Amazon could, if they really wanted to, roll out something very similar. They just haven't. And so Etsy's going really hard on, we are the gift giving place. If you want to buy stuff for yourself, go to Amazon, right? If you want to buy a gift for somebody, come here. And that seems to be the line that they're drawing in the sand. And then he seemed to call out directly, Scott, somebody like an Amazon. If you've ever looked at the recommendations pages on Amazon, right, you can go to Amazon and type in like gifts for Mother's Day or whatever, and they do have a page for that. It just doesn't look very nice, and it's not really curated or updated. So what they seem to be doing here is really focusing around the buyer persona, or what we would refer to as a niche, as the way that they're standing out on these things, right? And so again, whether it's AI or not, like, to me, this is not AI. This is just really good programming, right? Like, it's not like Etsy is dynamically creating all of these persona, right? Like, they said, here's the data that we have. We know that people who like buying bass fishing stuff really like these products. Those are the ones that we're going to serve. And then we're going to have the website put a label on it that says gifts for bass fishermen, right? And that's an easy way for people to be able to find this. The other thing I think he said that I missed when I was reading through the announcement was he basically said this will not affect your algorithm. So one of the things Etsy has really been trying to do is personalize search results for people who are buying. Basically what he said is you can create gift profiles for people using this feature, and it won't impact the personalization side of what you are searching for as a buyer outside of that ecosystem. And I think that part of this is really interesting to somebody like me, because I'm not into the things that my brother is into, or my sister-in-law is into, that my mom is into, that my dad is into. And so if I start looking for gifts on Etsy for them, that then pulls me away from the things that I might buy for myself in terms of what they're showing to me inside of their suggested search results and the things that they show to me on the homepage. So that feature I think is really cool. And I think at the end of the day, the biggest problem that they're trying to solve is that their search is not great. And he even said, he gave the full size of the catalog at one point. It was, like 151 million products, something like that, right? Millions upon millions of products. And what they're trying to do is just narrow down those results using any information that they can get
make it
to
easier.
Avoid somebody having to pogo stick back and forth between, I think this is what I want, it's not really what I want, go back to the search results, right? Every time you and I talk about SEO, that's like the number one goal of Etsy is to get somebody from running a search to buying a product. This is a way that they think will shortcut that process. And they're actually removing Etsy search from that essentially entirely, right? It all happens in the background. They're still going to look at the search engine ranking factors to figure out what to show for these things. But they're eliminating the portion where somebody has to type in best gift for bass fishermen. And they're getting there and getting to curating these results, according to them, by asking questions. Now, when I click on gift mode, they didn't ask me anything, right? So I'm curious if that's something that's still rolling out, or if you or anybody else in the chat has seen that. But basically what he said is they're going to give you a survey about this person, and then they're going to show you these results. Everything I've seen so far, it's like, here's a bunch of categories. Has anybody else seen anything differently at this point?
Yeah, let us know in the comments. I haven't. I did want to highlight a couple of positive things, though, like really positive things that we're not even like focusing on, and that is like hearing all of that from Josh it's good information because it's their information. They're sharing that information, right? But I think the one big thing that we also need to see is that Etsy is spending a lot of money to bring people to the platform. They're running Super Bowl ads. I don't know about you guys, but I know that that's pretty darn expensive. And why are they bringing people to the platform? Because they want people to buy. They're trying to let more people know Super Bowl, one of the biggest events of the year. They're trying to get people over to the platform. So what this is going to do is it is going to drive people to the platform. You're there as a seller. And he basically said, in so many words, our site is built for gifts. And we want to be the best gift giving platform on, or in the world. And so basically he's saying, we're going to get attention. We're going to do all them. We're going to market like crazy to get people over here to the platform. We're letting you be on our platform. And for those of you that are always complaining about fees, this, that, and the other thing, you're not paying for that Super Bowl ad. You're not paying for it. They are, right? So they're driving it over. And I don't work for Etsy. There's a lot of things I don't like that Etsy does, but I will say this, they're spending money to bring, they ran commercial ads around the holidays this year. They had like 3 or 4 different ads. And it was all gift driven. So some people would say like, well, yeah, if it's gift giving, then like, how can my business even succeed? There's different times of the year for multiple gifts for the same person. right? So that's the thing we have to keep in mind. So I really just kind of want to underscore and highlight those things that are happening that we need to be grateful for. Like, wow, they're putting some money into this platform. They're driving awareness. They're driving people to the platform. They're not driving them directly to you. That's your job to figure out your niche, your demand, having good products, doing personalization type stuff, you creating gifts for that person. Okay. And I would love to know what the breakdown is for how many people go there to buy something for themselves versus someone going there to buy gifts for other people. And I know it's a lot higher for the gift giving. I know that, but I would like to know what that number is. And I don't even know if I would want to guess. I would probably say 80-20, something along those lines, maybe 70-30. I don't know what that number is, but it would be interesting to know what that is. But regardless, I'm just trying to let you guys see, like, yes, you might be frustrated with Etsy, right? Like, oh my gosh, they're so like annoying at times, or they charge us so much, they nickel and dime us, right? But they are spending money to get people over there. If you created your own website from scratch, you're gonna have to do marketing. You're gonna have to spend money, and some of that money is not going to convert into dollars, right? So you have to always keep that in mind. So I'm excited about it. Not even just for the features. I think the features, we're going to dig into that here in a second. I'll open up my browser and I'll kind of go through it with you guys, but I'm pretty excited about it because just of the immediate attention that they are putting into this. So Chris, that's my little 2 cents on what I'm excited about.
Super Bowl ads in 2023, I just did some quick Googling, were around $7 million for a 30-second ad, which sounds like a lot until you consider the fact that there's however many millions of people watching it, right? Like even here in not the United States, where no one cares about football, everybody was watching the Super Bowl just to see the halftime commercial, right? Or to see the halftime show. And so you get a lot of people watching it. Is the juice worth the squeeze? We don't know, but it is one way to really put their stake in the ground and say gifting is our space. And Scott, I think that's really what they're going for here. And I know I've said this a few different times. If they can become the gifting platform, that means a huge amount of opportunity for them, right? Which is the reason they're going somewhere like CNBC to push this news. But anytime the website is bringing in more revenue, that's a bigger opportunity for us. And so the question then becomes, how do we take advantage of this? And I know we're going to dive into that here in just a second. Angela Ross said, when I click on gift mode, it asks who, and then which occasion, and then you choose 3 categories that person likes, and it gives you 15. So I've yet to see this. I've looked at this in incognito mode in different browsers, on my phone, in the app, right? Like on mobile, all of these different places. And every time it just takes me right there. But if that's what they're doing, that's really cool. And if you are able to set up multiple profiles, right? Your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever, right? Your great-great-grandniece, and then be able to just come back to Etsy and have them show you the things that person will like based on the information they have. That's awesome, because then it's a one-click experience. And I think the other thing, Scott, they did post this, right? And I think this is something that's really interesting. These are some of the results of their survey where they got that $1,600 number from. They said 75% of people feel it's important to be a good gifter, but almost the same number of people feel a lot of anxiety about that. 57% of people think that they're a good gifter, or that they gift thoughtfully.
So let's ask this question. This happens every year to us. Like, okay, so my wife is the head gift giver. Okay. I've given her that role since we got married almost 30 years ago, and she knows it, right? She knows, like, she's such a better gift giver than I am. But every year she starts to feel that pressure and that anxiety when it gets to that time of year. She's like, oh, I got to start. Right. And so I know that firsthand. Who else feels that certain times of the year, that it kind of weighs on you a little bit, that you're like, oh gosh, I got to get a gift for, your grandchild or your best friend or something, right? Like, I'm just curious, does that start to weigh on you? Some people find it very exciting and fun, and some people find it very stressful. I'd love to know what that is.
Rico just suggested something I think is really cool. He said they should allow us to set dates for the people we're buying gifts for. So Josh, when you come on, we'll have a discussion about adding that as a feature, right? But I think that would be cool, right? If we're going to be the gift giving platform, it should be, hey, your mom's birthday is in 4 days or 5 days, right? Here are the things you could still send to her. You already get a little bit of that with Google Calendar, where if you have somebody's birthday saved into their contacts, they'll send you some reminders like a week in advance. But Etsy adding something like that in, I think, would add some fuel to this fire to say, hey, mom's birthday is on the 14th. Here's all the things that you can get that will arrive for her in time. That's a huge deal. And I ran into that this year at Christmas, Scott. It's one of the few years I have not been home at Christmas. And I bought gifts like the 12th of December, and a handful of them arrived and some of them didn't until after Christmas, which is, it's like 13 days before Christmas. Some of those things came from Amazon, where I paid for 2-day shipping, right? But if you have an idea of when things are going to arrive, which Etsy does because they have the processing time and the shipping time, I think that would be a cool thing to add to this.
Yeah. Hey, before we do that, though, I wanted to address Simon here real quick. So Simon says, Simon says, we can play Simon Says. Simon, I'm sure that you've heard that before. You've had that happen. With Everbee email effectively going away in February, I'm more interested in what I will be getting for the monthly fee. I would hope we could have some more tooling, for example, that Allura provides. So this is someone asking what's going to happen now with Everbee. Why would I keep Everbee? I think is kind of like what the not even the question, but the concern. And here's what I want to tell you. We did a whole live on Everbee email now that this news has come out about email, because they did recently change that. There's so much you're going to be able to do with Everbee email. So the only thing that they're not allowing us to do is to connect our account and be able to send out those 3 or 4 emails immediately to try to get that person to subscribe. Other than that, we can still use email. So anyone that's thinking the news that they announced a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, they're not doing away with us being able to do email marketing. We just can't connect it with a third-party app, and we can't just email a customer if they have not said that they want to be emailed. And there's ways that we've talked about doing that now. And actually, Everbee email is currently right now working on some cool extra features that is going to allow you to build your list externally and also internally. So there's a lot of cool things happening down the road for that. So believe me when I say Everbee email, they're just getting going. Like you're going to be using email marketing, and if you're not, you should be. But you need to do it in the way that's within terms of service, which we always abide by.
So, Scott, before we jump into the how you would use this and how we think that this will be a huge benefit to sellers, I want to get your position on 2 things, because the CEO's point here, Josh, is that they think this is a big opportunity, and they think going surround sound and doing a Super Bowl commercial is the way to promote this. So do you think they're going about pushing this the right way? Number 1.
Yep.
Number 2, is this actually an opportunity for buyers and sellers? And number 3, is there an opportunity here for them to really stake their claim as being the gifting website? So do we think that they're marketing this correctly? Do we think that they have the chance to do this and be the gift giving website? And do we think that this is actually an opportunity for sellers, even more so than for the buyers at this point?
So you're asking me to answer all those questions?
Yeah. So number 1, are they promoting this the right way?
I got it. The answer is simple to me. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Capital. Yes. Right. Like they're running Super Bowl ads. They're running Q4 ads. They're driving people to the platform. They're making it known that they're a gift giving site. Right. Yes. Okay. Is it going to help customers? Yes. Is it going to help sellers? Us? Yes. Is it intended to help sellers? Yes, in a way that they're bringing more people. But for us, the way I see it, it also gives us intel. And that's not what they're saying to use it for. Right. So yes, I believe that it is that they're going about it the right way. They're marketing it properly. They're saying that it's for gift giving. They want to be the gift giving site. And they are, again, putting a lot of time and effort through it. So if I missed something there, Chris, but yes, I think everything is like thumbs up. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody right now that is the place to go for gifting. Amazon
No.
is the default for a lot of people, but I find myself going to Uncommon Goods, Etsy, Amazon, right? Wherever I can get the thing I think is going to be the best gift. And if they can speed that process up for people, I do think this is a blue ocean, right? It's something where there's not a lot of competition in terms of when you think gift, think Etsy. And that seems to really be what they're going for. And if the answer to that question is yes, if they can stake a claim, and Scott, I said 50% earlier, even if they can get 20%, that's $200 times 95 million people, right? Or $300 if they can get a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
And so even if it's just a few $100 per user per year by going through this strategy, that's a huge growth opportunity for them, which therefore means it's a huge opportunity for people selling on the site. The only question that remains is how can we take advantage of it right now? And how can we make sure that we're taking advantage of it moving forward?
Yeah, I'm going to answer this one real quick too, and then we're going to dig into like how you can actually use this as a tool in a sense. But this here, Canada Travel says, how will it help digital product or a digital product? And here's the deal on digital products, right? Number one, if you're selling digital products, it's probably going to be maybe a piece of art that's going to go in a nursery, right? So if you're selling that piece of art or a piece of art that's going to go in your home decor because you're trying to decorate for cottage core and you're going to decorate the room in that, you're going to be starting to look for stuff that resembles that, right? That's your digital piece, right? Your digital file that you're going to sell. It's also going to be sold to people that are selling in that market. So if I was in cottage core and you had digital files that would help me create my designs better, right? Kind of like a Creative Fabrica. And I looked, by the way, guys, it's Creative Fabrica. People call it Creative Fabrica. If you go to their channel, they actually say Creative Fabrica. And that's how I'm going to say it. So if does anybody know in the comments what the right way of saying it? They say it on their YouTube channel, Creative Fabrica. So I'm just curious. I've heard a lot of people say it the other way. Anyway, side note, because I brought it up. But if you go to their site, you can buy digital files. Then they're selling it to people that are designers that are selling designs. So that's one way you're going to be getting more attention. Now, are you going to give gifts as a digital file? Probably not. Okay. Now there's probably some exceptions. Now, are you going to have a party and need digital cards as invitations? Yes. And you might want to print them yourself. But there is probably, I would say, less opportunity for people that are selling digital products as far as this feature and stuff than it is for people that are selling physical products that can be personalized. I would personally think so. So that's my take on it. I think you're still going to get a benefit because more traffic's coming to the site. Right. And then if more traffic's coming there, then obviously people can find your stuff. I really think for digital products too, if you're selling digital products for like a real estate person and they're doing like templates and things like that, there's an opportunity there. You can charge more for them. But as far as like the Super Bowl ad for you, probably not going to help you all that much. It's going to bring traffic, but it doesn't mean that it's for gifts for you. All right. So let's go ahead. Chris, you have anything else there before we jump into the features and stuff that we think
let's jump into it, see how it works, and then see how we can take advantage of it as sellers.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, let me go ahead and add it here. And let me get over to my screen. All right. You can see that, right, Chris?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. All right, so right now, Etsy did roll out this new feature, this gift mode, and it's AI as they call it. Let's go ahead and see how we would use this as far as a seller. Because when this thing rolled out, I did see that it is a great opportunity for us to see the data now on the surface. Now, once again, this thing was created for a customer. So a customer comes here, right? They normally would go here to your search, right? Or they can go right here to gift mode. So if they click on gift mode, they're going to come here. And then it's going to say, who are you shopping for? And then you can select this. Now, I know, Chris, you said you didn't see this. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So it's different it could be different. They could be testing different things. All right. But right now, I'm in an incognito window. So this way here, it's not going to be influenced by my searches or from my browsing. And so here you can see what they're doing immediately is they're like, okay, who are you shopping for? We have all of these different people. Okay. Then we have up here, they're just giving us some suggestions, right? Extra special gifts for the cheese lover, the video gamer, the maximalist, anyone. And let's see, the music lover. Okay. So the other thing we can do here is we can go next question. So let's just go through this real quick. Let's say I'm coming in here and I'm like, okay, I am looking to buy something for my wife. Next question. All right. Then it's going to say, what's the occasion? It's going to be our anniversary. All right. Cool. And then what are they into? Let's see. My wife is into, let's see. She likes the perfect home. She likes plants and animals. Let's do plants and animals. Okay. And then it's going to say show gifts or gift ideas. So here we are. Now this was built specifically for what I just gave it. Okay. So now it's like the plant parent, show all ideas. Okay. So we have all these, the wife, right? So this is for, okay. Yeah. So it's giving me ideas. Okay. The gardener, here we go. The fashionable fella. Okay. Right. Show more. And then we can go and just explore others. But these here are tailored for what I just gave Etsy. Okay. Now, this is very helpful. And actually, Etsy is going to be spending a lot of money on this as far as getting the awareness because they are wanting to be known as they started as a gift giving platform. They're going to run Super Bowl ads. They're running Q4 ads. Like they're spending a lot of money. And this is what they're calling their AI integration. I really think it's okay. Let's call it AI. You can call it whatever you want. It's really like, it's an algorithm that's created. And this could have been created without AI. They could have just taken their data and they could have just grouped it and made it more organized and made it in an interface like it is right here. But what I want to really highlight here is that they're also allowing us as a seller to see what people are interested in using Etsy's data from all of the searches that they've done and all of the sales that they've done for me to now look at my niche. Or if I'm exploring a niche, I might be like, oh, I wonder what niches are popular. I wonder, is there a niche in cheese? Right. And then I would come here and do that. So let's just go back now. Okay. So let's just go here. Now, if I didn't input any of this stuff, I could go here and just say, okay, I'm going to get inspired by popular gift ideas. Well, I could come in here as a brand new Etsy seller that has not yet picked their niche. And I'm like, okay, what are some things that people are into? These are what I call niches. Okay. So we have here the toddler. Okay. Now, toddler isn't necessarily, it is a niche, but it's a sub niche because I really feel like kids would be the overall niche. And then you have, or it could be even just like moms and babies, right? And it could be then toddler and it's like kids in general. Okay. So that would allow me to drill deeper into that sub niche. So let's just go ahead and do that real quick. If I go into the toddler, okay, and I can just now look and see what are they recommending that would be good gifts for the toddler. Then we have handmade dress up costumes. Okay, cool. Costumes. Look at this here. Okay, that's a cool little, looks like a dragon of some kind, or maybe it's a dinosaur. I don't know. And then here we have kid-friendly decor. Okay, here's the bedroom. All right. So toddler headwear. All right. Puzzles. So what I'm showing you here is these are product ideas. These are categories and ways to build out a product line. I always talk about building out a product line. So I'd be here like, okay, what are the kitchen and accessories? These are like play kitchen and accessories. So I'd be like, okay, kitchen items, would be fun. Dress up costumes. Okay. But then I'd look at the costumes and go, okay, what are people, what are people buying? They're buying a dinosaur, or they're buying firemen, and they're doing here unicorns. Here, whatever that is, rainbow reversible unicorn. Then here we've got, let's see, a Peter Pan collar dress. I don't know if I would do Peter Pan because it's probably copyrighted or trademarked. Same thing here, Beetlejuice. Again, that always kills me, right? It's like, here we are on Etsy, and these people are possibly infringing on a trademark, trademark. We're going to keep going here. So kid-friendly decor are for their room. So we have, okay, this is a product idea. 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 They're all product ideas. And then if I want to do this, let's go into the headwear and let's go, okay, let's show more. Okay, cool. Oh, little hats. We could do print on demand of these, personalize them, right? There's a great idea. Here's another one. Maybe we can do personalized that on as far as print on demand for that. Here's another one. We have bows for the hair. Here's some more hats. Okay. So this is headwear. So do you see what I just did? I'm using this not as a customer or a potential customer. I'm using it as research. I'm using it as a research tool. And then what I can do is then I'd be able to look at this stuff, and then I'd be able to do my normal procedure using Everbee, and I would start looking at the numbers, and I would start to see, okay, how many sales have they generated? What kind of volume am I talking about? What kind of demand am I talking about? And all of those things. All right. But let's just go back here one more time, and let's just explore one more. So let's say cat lover. All right, cool. Go into the cat lover. Well, here we go. Cat portrait. Okay, well, maybe you're not going to do cat portraits. Maybe you are. Okay, but let's see what else. Handmade cat toys. Cat toys. Okay, that's a good idea. All right, cat parent clothing. All right. I guess we're calling them cat parents. Maybe we can say, okay, maybe that's a word we should probably use in our title now. Cat parent clothing, right? Because if Etsy is putting this here, there's a pretty good chance that people are searching for that. Just saying. All right. So that's cool. Cat beds and caves. All right. Cat themed enamel pins. Okay. That's a print on demand item all day long. Related inspiration for cat lover, the pet parent, the dog lover. All right. Future veterinarian. What else? The alien obsessed. Okay. Who would have thought? Let's see here. Art admirer, the painter. I would say maybe the future veterinarian could be an interesting category. The dog lover, the pet parent. Let's see what pet parent has to offer. Matching pet clothing. That's a big trend right now, by the way, guys. And that's a trend. Okay, I always talk about trends like not being good as far as like don't chase trends. I mean, don't chase trends that is like a specific design that everyone else is selling. A trend of people buying clothing that's matching, whether that's you and your pet, you and your daughter, you and your son, you and your sister, whatever, that's a good trend because that's one that is something that people would want today, but probably want in a year from now. So this is something I think is interesting to look at, matching pet clothing. So that would be interesting. Custom pet portraits again, personalized pet accessories. So this is where I'd want to explore a little more. And I'd be like, okay, what kind of accessories? Keychain, collar. Looks like some jewelry. This is a blanket. This is a bandana. Oh, this is cool. That's a cool little thing where we've got, we can hang up your leashes. You can put your dog treats there and it's for a walk. That's an interesting one. Discover more like this. And then I would go here and they're going to probably bring me to your standard page. All right. And if you look at this, it's personalizable. So again, I would look at that and go, oh, maybe I should put personalizable in my title. Okay. And you can see this is the category personalized pet accessories. And then you can run Everbee on this if you want to. So that's how I would be using this. And this is where I would be diving deep into either my own niche that I already have established or how I would find sub niches. Or if I was starting from scratch, I would go here and explore niches that interest me. But I would also look through these that I might see one that says, wow, I am interested in that. Or I'm a cheese lover. Let me see if I can do something there. And then it will give you a little bit of an idea or a direction that you can follow. So that's how I see that this big update that they did, Chris, is pretty awesome. What's your thoughts on it? Did I leave anything out? And just kind of let people know how they can use this better.
It's funny watching the chat because a lot of people are like, it's not great. Like it's giving me some good results, but it's not great. And I'm curious to see, Scott, if this will get better over time. The one thing I was curious about, if you can share your screen again for just a second and scroll to the top of those search results. I'm curious if the ones that are at the top of the search results, are the same ones that we're seeing on that first page. So are they the Etsy picks? Are they the top organic results? Or is it a random number of things from here? So if we go back down, it's the personalized pet accessories, I think is the one you opened up, right?
Yeah, right here.
So if we look at this, are we seeing the same things here that we're seeing on the search results? Because a lot of people are saying, oh, you can just put a tag or put it in your title, but it doesn't appear to be the same stuff.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I think maybe that is that one there. Let's see down towards this one. It's a blanket, but it's not the same one. Let's go back.
And so what I'm looking at here are the thumbnails, right? So like if we see that dog bowl, is that the dog leash thing? Is that anywhere on this page?
This one here?
No, the dog leash hanger with the like treat thing, that wooden thing.
I see what you're saying.
I'm just curious if that even shows up here.
Yeah, I'm not
right?
seeing.
Like we're down towards the bottom of the first page, so they are surfacing products that are not the top ranking products in organic search, and we don't know exactly why it is that those products have been curated at this point. But that is something to keep an eye out for. Doesn't necessarily
here's the
mean.
Other thing. Here's the other thing, Chris. The other opportunity here for us sellers is we might be here. We might get picked up. We don't know what they're pulling in here for this, for this data. Like if I click on this one here, I'm just curious. If I go here and I'm looking at this, let's even just go into the brand itself and let's just see. I'm just curious. They've got 2,260 practical gifts for Christmas. Okay. So whatever. And so they just do a mix of everything. It looks like they are trying to focus more on the pet space. Right. So yeah, it's okay. Does it mean that this here is like everything that's best selling? No, it's just to me another way for us to see what Etsy is saying from their data. It's just another location that we can see that stuff.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people in their chat are saying, hey, the other thing I didn't notice is any ad placements. And it is likely because they're doing that in a curated way, either the same way that they do Etsy picks, or they're looking at this and they're saying, all right, we know that Chris's Etsy profile as a buyer is buying all customized dog stuff. What are the products that he's most likely to buy as somebody who's really into dogs? And that's what they're presenting as the option, versus what happens in the search results where they're matching some of that personalization with what they think is the intent of your search. So if you say, custom dog collar, obviously they're going to give you dog collars versus dog bowls, right? If we're looking for the generic gift, they're presenting us with a wider variety of those types of options, most likely based on the things that sell the best to people who very closely match that persona. At least that's the way that I would do it, right? If I were sitting down and writing the AI, the algorithm for this, right? To say, hey, what should we show to people? It would be, let's look at the data that we have, and then let's present those products that are the best showcase for that specific persona, that avatar, that niche. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I like it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap this up here very soon, but we are going to answer a few questions. We did have some come in. If you guys notice, there's like a little badge near someone's name. That just means that they're part of our Backstage Pass Club. I'll explain that here in a second if you're interested. But we're going to answer those questions first. So anybody that has one of those badges will answer that. And then if we have time, we will answer some additional questions in this live. This was a last-minute live that we decided to do, so we don't have a ton of time. I actually have to run here shortly and take my daughter to volleyball. So the one question I did want to bring up here. Oh, and as far as the Backstage Pass Club, we actually do weekly audits, Etsy shop audits, and our Backstage Pass class, they are part of our batch recording session where we record them before they actually air, and we do live Q&A with them. If you do want to join, you can go to brandcreators.com/club, or you can just click join on our YouTube page or our channel. But the one here came in and said, what keywords would be used to show a listing in the gift mode? Earlier, it was what the customer typed, but now it depends on the AI. Wonder how this will affect the keyword data shown in Everbee. So it's way too early to know. I don't know if we'll ever know, right? Like, what is their algorithm, their AI? What is it that's pulling in these products? Like, what makes an Etsy pick? We don't even really know what makes it an Etsy pick. We've looked at Etsy picks and some of those aren't selling that well. and you get one product that's selling really well and it's not showing up in the Etsy picks. So I don't necessarily know the answer to that. I don't think that they are relying on search in this case. They're actually doing it in a way, and they've even stated it, is they want it to be as if they're creating a gift giving guide for you from those 3 questions. And then it kind of spits out this catalog, and then you just look through that catalog because it's personalized and tailored to what you gave it as input. You didn't put any keywords in there. You selected what they were suggesting that they potentially could be interested in by giving you ideas. So don't know exactly how they're pulling this data or how the AI is, and I'm sure it's going to change over time. So right now, I would say I wouldn't worry about trying to get yourself in the catalog. I would just create your products as is. Make sure that you're using your title that represents your products. I would probably say putting personalized or personalization in there if you are offering that is very important, because once again, whether you show up in this gift guide or not, they're saying there's more people looking for that than are not. So that's what I would say there.
The question, and I've seen it come through a few different times, is like, should we immediately rush out and put personalized and gift and all of these things in our title tags and description? And what I've seen so far, Scott, and you and I were looking at a bunch of these before we jumped on, I have seen some where they have gift in the title, some where they have it in the tags. And I've even found a few where it's not in the title tags or description, but it's still being presented as a curated option. And so there is probably that layer of like the Etsy pick, right? And what Etsy says is basically it comes down to a few different factors: quality, reliability, and style, right? It has to look good. It has to be of a good quality. Customers have to like it. So there's probably some layer of that in here too. If your item is not like a specific gift, then you don't need to try to shoehorn that in. We'll figure out over the next few weeks and months really what makes people rank there and not. Or Etsy will just come out and tell us, hey, it's, we're just curating the people that show up for these avatars, which again, is another reason it's not AI, like generative AI, right? They're not creating anything, it's curation. But I think the thing that's really interesting here is it is the first step in search for gifts now. And Anush said, for me, the sort and sift features in the gift mode are not refined enough. And I think that's okay, because I think the entire point of this from a customer perspective is to be Pinterest, right? It's more of a style board, right? And so you're saying, all right, here's all of these ideas. And if you want more like any of these, just click this button and we'll take you to the search results and show you everything that you could want to do. And if not, then you at least have an idea of what you're looking for, and you can just scroll to the top of the page, click on the search bar, and type in the things that you've gotten the ideas for. So I don't expect this to be a replacement for search, even if they do become the go-to gift place, because they're only able to showcase a limited number of products, right? In most cases, I think as you were scrolling through this, it was 8 to start with. And then if you click show more, it took you over to the search results. So it's really a jumping off point more than anything else on the gift giving side. This does not mean that search engine optimization, the way that you and I talk about it, right? Focusing on creating a quality listing, focusing on driving traffic, focusing on having a highly converting listing, that side of SEO will not change. And in fact, if anything, it's more important now than ever, because if you're not in one of those 8 spots, you are relying on somebody clicking the see more to get the rest of the ideas. And as soon as you show up at the top of that page, then they didn't even have to type in the keyword. Etsy's going, here's what you are looking for. Here's the best results for that. And then they're taking over from there. So I wouldn't expect this to be the end all be all. This is not where all of the Etsy traffic is going to go, but it is an important gate to start to understand buyer behavior and where these things are going.
And I wonder how many people are going to actually use it. So I think that'll be an interesting stat that they'll probably be looking at very closely, like how many people are using it, how many people are buying once they use it. So I think it'll also be, I mean, it's a test for them, of course. So we'll have to wait and see. Pedro, one of our club members, says, do you guys think this gift mode is going to have an impact on the way we create tags? No, nope. Business as usual. Just create good tags that represent your product that you think people would be using to search for your product, and they're going to help you in SEO, but they're also going to help you in your Etsy ads, because it's one more thing that tells what your product is and who it's for. So yes. All right. So let's see here.
Shogun said, isn't the whole platform full of items that people buy as gift? This seems like a bad move to push specific sellers. If you go back and listen to the interview with Etsy CEO, what he said was, we have all of these products. And what people are telling us, what gift buyers are telling us is the search experience is not getting them what they want because they think they're a good gift giver. Not everybody likes the gift that they are getting. And so obviously there's a disconnect there. All Etsy's trying to do is put a filter there where when you buy something on the site as a gift for somebody else, there's a higher chance that they'll like it, which means you come back to Etsy because you get that dopamine hit of, oh my God, you're a great gift giver, right? Yeah. So all they're doing is cutting out the pain in the butt part of that process for gift giving, which is being able to type in the right combination of keywords and having the right personalization in your Etsy search history and all of those things to find the exact product that you are looking for. They're trying with that idea board approach in front of the search experience to give you a better idea of where to start and how to start.
Yep. Here's another one. I'm curious how this will affect the data I see in Everbee now. It's not going to affect anything. If anything, it's just going to represent if that product sells, that data is going to be picked up. It has nothing to do with that. If you're talking about like the searches, that is, again, always been in any tool that you're using, that's always an algorithm that's built by the tool. And there's a lot of different data points that they're using. Will they use part of this? It's hard to say. It's too early. And I'm sure that they're probably not going to be building anything different in there because it's not part of the search. Like what we're talking about the gift giving has nothing to do with the search. When you're looking at a keyword, that's the search intent. Okay. So I'm not really sure even how they would use that data. And I don't really think that you would need that data because what it's really doing is, and I think the most important part here is to see how many views that product got, how many sales that product's got. That's not going to change. Your views is still going to be recorded inside of Everbee because they're pulling that data. So now let's say, for example, a product gets an extra 1,000 views a month. It's going to show you 1,000 views more per month, right? Because of that. Is that because of the gift giving guide? Could be, right? But there's no way that we're going to be able to decipher that.
And so that's the thing. Of course, I'm the analytics nerd, right? That's the thing I'm over here thinking about is as the seller, and I haven't looked at this yet. I don't know if you had. Are they going to add that as a traffic channel in the back end so I can see when my listing shows in gifting mode, how many clicks and sales do I get? That we still don't know yet. But in terms of the front end data on Everbee, it doesn't really matter where that view came from a seller research perspective. It just matters that they had 100 visits and 10 sales, right? Yep. The number of sales doesn't change. The total number of visits doesn't change, but the traffic source for those may shift. And that would be something I'd be curious to see if they're giving us access as sellers to that data on the back end to be able to say, man, when I show up for gifting mode, it rocks and rolls, right?
And you mean the back end of Etsy.
Yeah. So like in the listing analytics, right? Because right now they tell us ads, they tell us organic, they tell us direct.
I wouldn't hold my breath on that little feature, Chris. There's a lot of features that needs to be added to Etsy. So let's not.
It'll go into the SEO or the search analytics beta tab.
They literally just gave us a trackable link this year. I mean, come on.
But that would be cool as a seller, but again, it doesn't really matter on the front end, right? The only place where that would be really useful is if you have a bunch of traffic coming from that. If you're getting a handful of clicks, it doesn't really matter. And so somebody had just asked Scott, I think it was Kaylee's Monogram, how will Etsy ads factor in now? The same way that they always have, right? This is a curated set of very limited results. It does not appear that they currently have any ad spots in the gifting guide. Is that something they will open up eventually? Potentially, if they see enough volume coming through their gift mode. But right now, that doesn't change anything. And really, it's just a filter on the front end before they put somebody into the search results. It's designed to get them as filtered down as possible. And Scott, as you were going through their onboarding questions, it's exactly what I was thinking. They're like, oh, it's generative AI. I'm like, okay, it's just a filter. Right? You're like, okay, we're going to knock out all of the products for men because they selected for my wife. We're going to knock out all the products for kids, all the products for she likes dogs. We're going to add the dog stuff back in. Oh, she likes cats. We're going to add the cat stuff back in. And then we're going to start to show you that stuff.
I would like to know on the back end what they're calling AI. Like, what is the AI portion of this algorithm that they're using? Because like you just said, Chris, okay, So right now I can say that Everbee has some search AI functions because I can use filters.
Yeah.
You
It's
know what I'm
just,
saying? Like all
it's
I'm
the
doing
new
is sorting by
buzzword.
filters.
Yeah, and Rico said this was created by the marketing department, not the IT department, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's who came up with the
That
language for
could
the
be right.
CEO.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like you could have done that. We could have done this probably 10, 15 years ago with the
Oh
same
yeah.
tools. And it's not to knock it. It's just, can we stop using things that mean other things to mean something that's cool or new to try to get the AI buzz around it?
Right.
It's not, it's just a filter, but it's a really cool filter. And it's a way
Sure.
to eliminate the hurdle for a lot of people, which is the keyword choosing side of this, right? No matter how good search gets, the output, the search results are only as good as the input. And quite honestly, a lot of people suck at typing in the keywords that they're looking for, which is why search engines like Google implement auto suggest. And they're like, did you actually mean this? Because what you just typed in does not make any sense. And so what Etsy's trying to do is eliminate that frustration where people are typing in a bunch of keywords and not getting what they want by adding these filters on the front to say, hey, if you're looking for a gift for your wife, here's a bunch of ideas that you might like. Now just click this button and we'll take you to the keywords you should have typed in and the filters that you should have typed in to begin with. And Jamie said it's recategorization. Yeah, that's what it is, but it's a cool way of doing this. And they're opening up a new category.
And they built a really nice user interface. Like, let's face it, right? Like code is pretty ugly and filters are pretty ugly without like a nice pretty interface to use, right? So they did create a decent looking with graphics, and it's very easy. I haven't used it on mobile, so I'm curious to see how it looks on mobile. So that would be interesting, because I think most of the searching and stuff is probably happening on mobile. So we'll have to run through that. But anyway, guys, that's what we wanted to share today. And, we wanted to kind of discuss it and see what the benefits are and really highlight like this. I mean, it's a pretty big deal just from the standpoint of Etsy is putting a lot of resources into making their platform better because a couple reasons. One, they want to be profitable and their stock has not been doing well. So because of that, we got to make the investors happy. And the only way we're going to make the investors happy is if we show progress, right? We're innovating and we're getting more sales. Sales are going up, right? That's how you make investors happy. So anyway, that's what we wanted to share with you guys here today. This was a last minute little live that we wanted to do. If you guys are interested in joining us once a month for 3 to 4 Etsy shop audits as we record them, we actually record them in advance. There's going to be the first one that's going to be released, our edited version that's going to be published here on the YouTube channel. If you're here on the Brand Creators YouTube channel, we are going to be publishing the first episode February 1st. And we're also doing another batch recording live session where we're going to be doing 3 more Etsy shop audits to record for the end of February and beginning of March. So if you want to be a part of that, you can join the Backstage Pass Club by heading over to brandcreators.com/club. And for under $10, you can hang out with us for about 2.5, 3.5 hours ish as we record these 3. They're going to be raw, unedited. You'll get full access to those before they ever air. And you can also ask questions live as we're going through and doing these Etsy shop audits. And these are with real people, real Etsy shops. We share the niche. We share everything that the shop owner is going through. And then we basically help them grow it. Or we also kind of tell them some things that they might not want to hear. And sometimes it's hard to swallow, but we're looking to make them increase their sales and their traffic and all of that to help their Etsy shop. So if you want to be part of that, brandcreators.com/club, we'd love to have you. And if you're on YouTube, on the Brand Creators one, there's a join button. You can just click that and you can basically join in a few clicks. All right. So that is it. That is going to wrap up this unannounced last minute live. I want to thank each and every one of you for hanging out with us. And until next time, take care, take action, have another great day if you haven't had one already. And we'll see you guys down the road. See you guys.